first one is, and again, the least one of these, is finding and keeping housing. As you move overseas with a job contract, it may or may not include housing in your job contract. If it is included in your job contract, then obviously the only issue is that the pictures you have been sent of your housing, rarely does it ever match the reality. So just be prepared that the pictures are not of actual homes that you will be living in. It can be very disappointing when you expect it to be as you've seen in pictures. They usually just use one set of pictures for all their housing. If it does not include housing, then you have to find a place to rent, and it's a very challenging process because you're in a different culture and different understandings of contracts. And so please try to get that as clear as possible in the interview process that is housing included. So when they do give you a housing allowance, and then it is your job to find your own rental. But then the other version is that the company provides the housing and it is built into your wages. Just be aware that these are two issues that are a problem very early on in the game, even before you started your job. The reality is that most tent makers lose their housing on short notice while they're in the country. Somehow they find somebody who will pay more rent, or maybe a relative needs the housing, various reasons. And then it becomes very challenging to find housing on short notice when you're in the country. We don't recommend that people buy houses or condos because it's just you're in a very, very different culture, and perhaps the laws do not protect foreigners as much as they do locals. We've had two experiences over the last 20 years where people did end up buying a condo. Both of these people eventually lost their money and their condo through the courts. A good reminder is that your landlord has all the rights. Perhaps in the West, we think as renters we have some rights. In these countries, you rarely have any rights, even if they're written down on a contract. So just remember that it is always good to have as best a relationship with your landlord as possible, so that he will be on your side as much as possible.